I feel like there's a responsibility to spread the net, and you make sure that you're getting the most talented people in the room. And if you do, then you're not filling quotas, right?
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Tom Talk Trash, and stand back with another video. This time, I'm joined by SP3 and Alex Mccarthy to talk about diversity in the wrestling media. So welcome back on the show, fellas.
Thank you very much for having me. Eventually.
Thanks for having us, Tom.
Yeah. So if we take us back to the beginning, before we talk about our topic a little bit, how do you guys first connect and start content creating together?
Well, in 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic, already had the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, and I wanted to do more interviews with, journalists as well as content creators, wrestlers. So I contacted a bunch of people, and Alex was one of the most positive on the Twitter space, which is not an always positive space. He is one of the best Twitter accounts talking about professional wrestling, giving his opinions, his takes on it. So I connected with him through Twitter and DM'd him, asked him to be on, and throughout the conversation, when I had interviewed him on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, more and more information he was giving me, and I was just like, yeah, I was the same way when I was a kid. Yeah, I was the same way when I was younger. Yeah, I was a Rock fan too. Yeah, I hated Triple H too when I was a fan. Yeah, I am a Laker fan as well. Yeah, I'm a big Kobe Bryant fan. So it's basically like he was the UK version of myself. So we bonded in that way, created a friendship, and then that developed into a partnership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was that for me at that point I was running really heavy, I think, with TalkSport, and we just I'd only had my radio show for a little while, if I'm not mistaken, and then obviously SP3 invited me onto his show. And I was fairly selective back then, but again, it's just the way he went about it. I thought, you know what, okay, I'm gonna go on this guy's show. And then as it went along, not only did I get along with him, I just thought he was talented. Like, he hosted well, his delivery and stuff like that. Stuff that maybe the untrained eye might not appreciate, but I certainly noticed it when we were together on screen and stuff, and I thought, he deserves more than what he's got, basically. And True Heat today has got a Patreon and a few thousand subscribers on YouTube, and I think that was in the early embers where they only had a few hundred. So it shows you, man, that good work has been rewarded with the following. But at that point, it was still kind of getting off the ground, and I just thought, he's better than this. So when it would be several months later when Wrestle Talk wanted me to do a show, when I thought to myself, you know what, it is funny, it ties in with what we're talking about today, but I thought, Wrestle Talk is very white male, very white male. And there was just, they said you can pick some of your co-hosts, and one of them I had to take was Louis, who is another white male. So I thought, it's probably a good time to try and introduce some other talented people that I, rate and respect. And that's how SP3 and Steph Chase both became co-hosts of mine. It just felt like a good platform to get them involved. So really, we always stayed in touch from that first True Heat that I came on. And it's just grown from there, man. Lakers and Dave Chappelle and R&B. I don't know, we like all the same things, so it's really easy. And also, this is one thing that kind of attracts me generally to people on Twitter. If I won't follow people that are intentionally divisive, for instance, right? Or that can't have a real conversation. SP3 has his favorites the same way I do, but he's objective. If I make a point, he won't squash it just because of who he loves, right? He's a very objective guy, which I like about him very much. So that's another appealing thing, right? He leads with intelligence and logic rather than anything else.
Fandom, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I just liked him, basically, and then I wanted to bring him along for anything that I did since then, pretty much.
Fair enough. So you brought up there about certain channels maybe leaning a bit too far, maybe being too white, or I try to figure out how to phrase. I know what I mean, but I'm trying to figure out how to phrase the question like politically correctly. Like maybe leaning too far one way or the other. How do you feel like the wrestling media can improve that ratio?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is just giving chances. Like, the funny thing is about Wrestle Talk is that they knew it, right? Like when I said to them, I'm not saying they intentionally did it. It's probably just how it ended up, right? But they knew that they needed to improve that aspect. So I have to say for Ollie Davis, that is, as soon as I broached the topic of like, well, maybe we should expand, the palette of presenter here. He was all for it. I do have to stress that he was very much like, that's a really, we know we need to do that. And since then, our good brother Sati Niangi is like one of the hottest pieces I think they've got on Wrestle Talk. So it's good to see that those things developing. But yeah, a lot of it is just kind of like, and I find this with many things, right? But it's just like tradition and tropes. And once things have always been one way, it's like, and it just kind of gets embedded that way. And it does take different people, someone I would consider myself one of these people to break that, to say, look, we should get the most talented people in the room is who need it. And you best believe SP3, you best believe Sati Niangi. These are very, very talented guys who deserve the platforms that they've garnered themselves to today. Like nobody would question for a second why they are where they are now, but they had to see them in the first place, right? That's the thing. And you look at the Grapsody guys, they're doing great, like cultivating a kind of cult following over there on Fightful. So, shout out to Sean Ross Sapp as well for seeing the potential there. And Will Washington's been at this for years, but maybe only the last 2 or 3 years. Does anyone really know who he is? And I don't say that in any kind of disrespectful way. I'm sure you both understand.
Yeah.
But he would be the first, I think, to say that he's finally sort of got his flowers that he richly deserves. So, again, it's about these people. I feel like there's a responsibility to spread the net, and you make sure that you're getting the most talented people in the room. And if you do, then you're not filling quotas, right? Like there'll never be a time where I'm just like, SP3 is my black friend. It's got nothing to do with anything, right?
Yeah.
And the proof is in the pudding with that now. We've got a body of work, and well, I say he that testifies to that. So I feel like, obviously white people have dominated this space historically. You look at what culture and it goes back further and further, but I look at it now and the landscape's a lot better than it was, and there's still work to do.
You brought up there's still being work to do. SP3, what do you feel like maybe by the end of 2023, for example, what do you want to see improve when it comes to diversity in the wrestling media?
Well, to kind of echo what Alex is saying, is more people giving that opportunity, because the whole reason I started doing content creation was that fact, is that a lot of the wrestling content that I would digest on YouTube was mainly white males. I wanted to see more females. I wanted to see more people my color, more people that look like me on wrestling media, on these content, and that's why I created the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, is for us to have our voice and say it the way that we say it, and make references to the R&B, the Dave Chappelle, the stuff me and Alec kind of just bonded over. I wanted more of that out there, and that's why I created a channel for myself and my friends who are also look like me, and it's not just happen to be African Americans. I have my friend that's of Indian descent that talks about wrestling. I have my friends of Hispanic descent that talk about wrestling. There just wasn't that type of diversity all around, not just African Americans, but just in general. Like Alex said, it was very white male. It wasn't just woke cultures and your wrestle talks that were just very white male. It was all across the board. So I give it up for the people like Alex, like Ollie Davis, like Sean Ross Sapp, that have opened the door and given talented people of different cultures, different descent, different nationalities that opportunity to voice themselves. And I want more. Not to call anybody out, but I want the cultaholics of the world and more of the woke cultures of the world to open their doors and realize that there are so many talented people that not just look like the people that they have on their channel all the time. I hope at the end of 2023 we can see representation representation of all colors, all descents, nationalities, more Hispanics. I see a lot of, Hispanics on smaller channels, but I want to see them more on the bigger channels and have that opportunity to kind of speak their mind and say what they think about professional wrestling, because it's such a melting pot that no wrestling fan looks like the next one. So that's what needs to be represented in content when it comes to professional wrestling.
I think what's interesting there as well is like, you get like the casted characters almost with True Hill Heat, right? Like Chrissy Love, for instance, is someone that is so full of personality and like is just so entertaining to watch. And like when I finally met with the True Hill Heat boys in New York, right? Like 4 or 5 of them, it was just like a wrestling party, right? It's not, and this is the reason I bring that up. It's like a mindset you need to get out of. It's not like, we were different colors meeting up. We were wrestling fans, man. You know what I mean? Like we're friends. Like that's how it feels. And I feel like, if you overthink it with like, putting everyone into different boxes, that's really not what it's about. Like I said, the talent should rise above all. And I feel like just because of the way it's historically been, you need to give those people that haven't had those chances historically, put them at the forefront and then see what's what. Because I think SP3 and a lot of the people that we've named on this on this show today, they are proof that once you put them in front of the camera and you give them the chances, that's what wins.
Definitely. So you talked about listing off a few of your favorite creators that are maybe just starting to get their chance now. Who are some creators that are maybe under the radar that you want to see, like we said, by the end of 2023? I'll use Alex's phrase, get their flowers.
If I could think of anyone, I mean, I would think of a lot of people from the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, and someone that I kind of just brought on board to do like a podcast that I thought would needed more representation. We started a women's podcast in 2022, and Stephanie Hypes is someone that always was so positive on Twitter and always had, opinions and takes and always stand firm in her opinions. And I wanted to give her a platform and an opportunity, and I think that she's someone that deserves more of a spotlight and an opportunity on maybe more of the bigger channels as well. So that's probably the person that comes to mind. But also Miss Chrissy Love. I feel Chrissy Love is very unfiltered, so I don't know if every place is ready for her.
She's my favorite.
But Chrissy Love is so talented with everything. And how I met her was we just started arguing in a bar in New York City. She was a big Becky Lynch fan, I was a big Ronda Rousey fan, and we were arguing during Royal Rumble weekend in 2019 before they faced each other at WrestleMania. And just my co-host Top Guy JJ saw us going back and forth and was like, that's a cool dynamic to have on the show. And that's how she became one of the co-hosts for the show. So more of that. And you can have someone who never thought of doing content creation, and you just get into a conversation with them and realize that you have that type of rapport, that type of chemistry, and you can bring them on board. So more of that opportunity for, the people that are not getting a big spotlight. Wrestle Things in the UK, a bunch of guys who are...
Oh, my answer is
go ahead. Go for it.
That's the same thing for me. Like, first of all, I can totally believe the Chrissy Love story. Can totally believe that. But second of all, yeah, that for me, like, I've got a few, like, just to broaden the spectrum. I mean, Maggie is on Fightful these days with Rob, and bearing in mind that English isn't her first language, she's Bulgarian, right?
Yeah.
Really good, like really good at
so good.
She has like a very I've said this to her before, but like again, considering English isn't her first language, she connects really well when she does the show. You don't feel like she's presenting it as such, as she's talking to all of you, which is it's a skill in itself. And I don't know if she even knows that she had it or crafted it, but she does have it. And I do enjoy watching her work. Wrestling's though, man, like these guys, they're doing like, they're just so, their production value for one, by the way, so good. Like, considering I've worked at major companies right in the UK, and so like the stuff they do is better than anything I put out. Like the way they present their shows, you've got like a Nafi, I like him, Laps, Mex is my guy as well. Del Boy is just like a lunatic. Like they've got like a great whole cast of characters that all kind of the same way SP3 was just saying, they play off each other so great. They're very supportive, but they say it how it is as well. And again, they're just going big and making it what they're doing as big as possible. That all they need is somebody to get behind them properly, to amplify them. And like the pieces are already there, like the talent, the way they produce their shows. As I say, I think it looks great. If you have never seen them before and you stumbled across their content, you'd think like, who are they, right? Because the value is just so good in it. But with that as well, the chat, I think they do like watch along parties for the major pay-per-views and stuff. So impressed at what they've done from the ground up. Similarly to True Heat, it actually reminds me a lot of that. They've made their own platform. So can't say enough great things about Wrestlings. Hope they see this clip, in fact, because they've always got a friend in me.
It'll be a clip that goes on Twitter, by the way, so they hopefully will see it.
And then finally, I just have to always say this because I know SP3 will agree with me, but man, Sat is so talented. Like he is. I've said this before privately with SP3 and Sat. His talent is not meant to be confined to wrestling, right? Like he's got.
I think you said that to me once before as well.
Listen. There you go. What great company to keep. He is so much more than just like talking about wrestling, reviewing. Is like his charisma is. I don't think actually in the flesh I've worked with anybody that has such natural, organic charisma as Sat, and his delivery. He'll tell us before we do an interview or whatever how nervous he is, but then you watch him do it and you think,
really?
It's just he is just like an entertainer. He's a people person. And he's genuinely one of the nicest souls you'll ever meet in your life. Can't stress enough how many good things I want to happen for Sati and Yankee. He's always going to be a brother to the Daily Boys, without doubt.
I 100% agree with that. Sat is just, you need to talk movies, TV with him because they don't even know how knowledgeable he really is when it comes to that type of stuff. Sat is so talented. So I would definitely want to echo that. To bring up a couple of more people, Sanal, she used to do watch-alongs over at Wrestle Talk with Tempest for New Japan. She's a very big New Japan fan, and I actually suggested her for a new podcast that I'm doing for Wrestle in Ace Techers with Carrion, Wrestle Things NK is on that as well. And Sanal is just so knowledgeable. She knows so much about like Japanese professional wrestling that she teaches me stuff when I'm doing podcasts with her. We had her on a review for Wrestle Kingdom, and just her knowledge of New Japan is so vast. And just to bring up one more person from True Hill Heat, only because this guy is so talented that people don't even know. Romeo's a Swiss Army knife when it comes to True Hill Heat. He does thumbnails, he does editing, he does producing, he hosts the watch alongs. Like, this guy is so talented. I didn't even know he had his own YouTube channel that had 34,000 subscribers that he just relaunched. Wow. So he's so talented and has so many things that I think a bigger platform needs to have, and I want to see him get his flowers and get his paper. So I think a bigger platform definitely needs Romeo because he's so talented at so many different things.
I got them. I watched the Survivor Series of Romeo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You go. And we had a drink at McMahon's.
Oh dear. But as we look at wrapping this up, guys, this is a question that I always feel cringy about asking. Where can I improve? Like interviewing, but also bringing on more diverse guests. Where can I improve?
Listen, I think me and SP3 have given you a whole roll call of people that you can bring onto the show, man.
Definitely.
But look, as I said before, I mean, I think you are different to Maggie. To liken that praise earlier, but I do think you have a humanizing quality when you ask your questions that is affable. Don't know if you know what that word is. Look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, man, like again, just keep broadening your horizons and get your reps in. Like I always say this to everyone. Like I watch interviews that I did like 4 or 5 years ago, and I think, oh, man, Like, it is all about the reps. It is all about, learning something more every time you do it, because you do get more comfortable, you do get braver, you do get broader, right? Like, don't narrow yourself, would be my advice.
I wouldn't have done this topic when I first started. I'll put it that way. I'd have been, how do I explain this? Too scared sounds like the wrong word, but I know what I mean. Like, I'd have been too, like, don't want to offend people. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, you saying that, like, really, I'm not like the authority for voicing diversity, right? Should never really be a white guy leading the. That's ridiculous. But if I can, like, I do think it's our duty to kind of be a part of the conversation, though, and help it push it on. Right?
That's why I wanted to have you on.
But that's what I mean. Like, anything in SP3's career, or any friends of mine, wherever I can help it or push it forward, I absolutely will.
100% what Alex says, and in a lot of ways, if you make a wrestling analogy, Alex is the Shawn Michaels to my Triple H. I wouldn't have gotten where I am without him kind of leading the way, pulling me up when I was kind of just starting out, and not really starting out. I was doing it for a couple of years, but I wasn't really sure where my place was. And now I have the opportunity to, interview so many people, and a lot of those connections was through my connection to Alex. So, as far as you goes, I told you before the interview, and I'll say it while we're recording, I'm proud of where you were, because like I brought up the whole conversation of diversity to you, and I could tell you were a little unsure when we did our first interview 2 years ago. So the fact that you invited us on to talk about this, you are well on your way. You're on the right path. You're talking to so many bigger names that I don't even reply back to me. They reply back to you. So you're in a good state.
That's so weird to me. I appreciate that, but that's so weird that, like, it's like they've replied to me, but that's weird. Anyway, as we look at wrapping this up, because I know SP3 has got to get out of this joint quite quickly, but we are going to do a quick segment. I messaged you guys about this. We're going to do generic questions. You forgot a bit of paper, didn't you, Alex?
There's no paper in my house, brother. I can't even do it on my phone either, because I'm using it.
So
you know what you do? You ask the question and he says it, and I'll write it down.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah. So, okay. So basically, you guys know that I ask a segment called generic questions. Those of you that have seen my interviews before will know this, where I ask my guests their favorite match, favorite pay-per-view. Basically, the questions that they might get asked on social media quite regularly. But this time, we're going to flip it, and I'm going to ask it inverse. So I'm going to ask SP3 what Alex's favorite matches, for example. So let's start there. What do you believe Alex's favorite match is, SP3?
Again, I don't need to say it at the same time. I'll just be honest. But yeah, I'll let you put it up and say if you're right or wrong. Oh, it's so close. I think Rock Hogan's one.
Rock Hogan was that?
Rock Hogan. Okay.
Yeah, it's just matches, but that's to me, that's like wrestling. The crowd. But yeah, close. He knew Rock was going to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I knew Rock was going to be in there. What about for SP3, Alex? What do you think his favorite match is?
Well, I'll let him write it down. I'm fairly confident. So I think it is Omega Okada, Dominion. Is it Dominion?
Yeah, Dominion 2018.
Yeah! All right, then.
There it is.
What about Alex's favorite pay-per-view?
To the bank.
SP3. I hope my internet hasn't died.
I think I should. Okay. You got to say it, and then.
All right. Is it WrestleMania 17? Yeah!
Yep. It's backwards, so, but WrestleMania 17. Yes.
My guy.
What about for Alex SP3? No, other way around. Sorry.
What you mean the other way?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Man, that's tough. That's tough.
I think I asked you this when I had you on in 2021, right?
Hard. You know what?
Yeah, but it's changed.
Oh, has it?
You know, the
Fair
problem
enough.
is SP3 has seen everything, right? So it's harder, much harder. Uh, AEW. Oh God, I can't remember which one. Revolution.
Oh, you're
Which
close.
one?
Oh, I
All out
nearly got
2021.
fake. With the thing,
Okay.
because we've reviewed. That's annoying. But anyway,
I'm really conscious of time because of SP3. So shall we just do it this way?
No worries.
SP3 writes down his favorite ones and Alex guesses, shall we? And then we'll do the inverse next time.
sure.
Cool.
Sure.
I'm just conscious because of SP3's Wrestle Talk work.
we got pretty much, we got good time. We got good time. We got a good time to work with.
Okay. Where was we? So what is just because I'm curious, what do you think Alex's favorite pay-per-view is, SP3?
We
Oh,
just
no, we
did
did
that
that.
one.
Sorry, we did
one.
that. What do you think Alex's
I'm
favorite?
falling apart here, brother.
Yeah, just a little bit. What do you think Alex's favorite wrestler's theme is? SP3.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good
Um,
I don't know if I know.
asked
I
him this
never
recently.
heard him say this, but I'm just gonna guess that one. Go ahead, Alex. You can say it.
Favorite wrestler theme ever, right?
Yeah, ever.
Oh man, that's rough. That's rough because I just don't think SP3 is going to get it.
No, I'm not. Probably not.
Yeah, two of my favorites ever. I just think are great wrestling songs are "Time to Play the Game" with
Nice.
Triple H, and also you got it. Yeah,
Yay!
how did he do that?
I don't know. I don't know what told me that. I don't know what told me that, but I was like, Triple H game. That was immediately what came to mind.
Oh my
That's
God, I was about to
brilliant.
say Triple H game and Edge on this day, but man, you nailed it. Shit.
Wow. What about, just to flip it, what about SP3's, Alex?
Oh, see, again, this is really hard because I've heard him before go like, "Oh, this guy's indie theme was the go," and I'm like, "Oh, fuck."
All I would say is that you are on the nose.
Oh God. I've heard him say it, which is so frustrating. Oh God. Oh, I don't know. It's got to be Omega or the Young Bucks or someone. No, or they're indie music. Tell me, SP3.
Final answer. Is that your final answer?
Oh, don't do that.
Bro.
Uh, Adam Cole's indie music.
That is close, but it's Bryan Danielson's
Oh,
Final Countdown.
Hey! Wow.
Seriously, was going to say that as well. God's sake.
All right. Let's try this another way. What do you think each other's favorite tag team is?
Ooh. Oh, he should definitely get mine, but
It's got, if it's not the Young Bucks, I'll eat my hat.
yeah.
No? Yeah.
Alex's, let me damn. Yeah. All right. I got my answer.
Yeah, you could go a couple of ways with this for me.
Yeah.
So I was a Rock and Sock is like an easy one where you could go, you could be forgiven for picking that. But I was a real Edge and Christian guy. Don't know if I've ever
Damn
said
it. Damn it, I put Hardee's. I should have known because I said it at the beginning. We were always alike, and that was my favorite
Yeah,
as a kid as well.
We've had both, but I don't know.
That's brilliant. And then finally, who do you think each other's favorite wrestler is?
Oh, well, I mean, his is easy.
Yeah, mine's
Yours is easy. I know that, Alex.
All day for him. Mine, he kind of
SB is again. Look, I know. So, like, for instance, I know SP3 is a huge rock guy, but SP3 is a very it's a lot broader than just like he's got a broad reasoning for who's
he could
favorite.
pick an indie obscure one.
I think it's Danielson, but I'm not sure.
Right on the nose.
Yeah,
Brian Danielson.
And then
I literally commented on someone's like that Brian Danielson is my legit started from the bottom, now we're here wrestler because I saw him on the indies on ROH and then got to see him at WrestleMania and stuff. So yeah, Brian Danielson.
The reason I as well, and I know I've told SB3 this before, but like The Rock was my guy when I was a kid, and then I had like 3 years out ish around uni, and the guy that brought me back, Brian Danielson. There you go.
And then as we wrap this up, because obviously I do want to be respectful of your time, the question I end all my interviews on is with YouTube, with podcasting, with social media in general. We're all sort of going to live forever in some sort of way. But to flip the question, what piece of content do you want each other to be remembered for?
Oof. Weirdly, I think, and again, this is something that SB3 and I have always bonded on. I think we both care about being remembered as great fathers before anything else.
Yeah.
In terms of work, man, SB3's got so much just because it's he's so broad, but I think one thing that he should be proudest of is building something from the ground up. I could never actually say that, which I admire that about SB3. So, yeah, I would love True Hill Heat to it's already great. I'd love it to explode, and that'd be like his legacy. I'd love that.
What about you,
Alex is already in a place that I think he deserves to be. What he's doing with Daily Mail, chief editor over there. So I think that his work in what I've always called him since the first time we did like an actual podcast, Wrestling Daily together. I want it to be known across. I don't want there to be any debates. He is the face of UK journalism, not just wrestling journalism, but sports journalism. Anything that he does, he has a level of credibility, a reputation that is second to none. And that's what I think Alex should always be proud of, outside of being a great father, a great husband, and to me, a great friend and brother. So what he does in the journalist world, I can never even imagine. I just started doing kind of news writing full time and getting paid for it, but I could never get to what Alex has become in that form, in that platform. So I want him to be definitely proud of that.
I wish I could hug you right now. I wish I could get these big old paws around you, SB3. That's what
paws. I want him.
To be honest, guys, I think that's a beautiful way to end this conversation. So where can the people find you and or your content?
Well, you could find me on the Twitter machine at True Heel SP3. That is like a hub where you can see all the content that I'm doing. You can see me on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. That is TRU, no E, TRU HEELHEAT, True Hill Heat Wrestling YouTube channel. We just hit 4,000 subscribers at the beginning of this year, on our way to 5,000 subscribers. We have daily content about 6 to 7 days a week, so you can check us out anytime we go live, or pre-recorded content over there. You can see me on the Believe in Pro Wrestling podcast with my good brother Rick Ucchino every Tuesday at 2:15 p.m. Eastern time. You can see me on Wrestling with, not see me, but hear me on Wrestling Wrestling with Kirian, NK, and Sanaa with Ace Techers every other week, talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling, Sports Keto Wrestling with Rick Ucchino and Dutch Mantel every Friday, following SmackDown and Rampage. And I do some stuff on Fightful Overbook. Jeremy and me do a weekly podcast where we talk about not wrestling, reality television, sports every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. UK. See, I know my UK times too, so check me out over there as well.
What about you?
He was always the guy who got the time zones right for both of us. Yeah, a few things about that, by the way. Rick did great at that post press conference. I thought he did great at the back there.
Absolutely.
So I need to tell him that. I need to DM him that. I thought he did really well. And I'm a paying Patreon, by the way, for True Heel Heat. I recommend everyone does so, because as SP3 says, a slew of content all the time. You can find me, Alex Mccarthy 88 on Twitter. As I mentioned earlier, I dropped a little Dewdrop Now Piper Niven exclusive today. I'm going to be doing a bit more of that again, returning to my old roots, as it were, for the Daily Mail. They're now interested in doing wrestling. They never were before I joined, so it's a bit of a breakthrough. Hope everyone can support that work. Cody Rhodes exclusive interview coming in the coming days. So yeah, you'll be able to find all of that there. You'll see my face a lot on Inside the Rope YouTube channel. That's where all my interviews go. So between my Twitter, Daily Mail, and Inside the Ropes, you'll always be able to see my work. And there's going to be a lot of it heading up to WrestleMania. So please stay tuned.
It's well worth doing, guys. Both very good gentlemen that have always been very good to me. And I've really enjoyed chatting with you today, fellas. So if you guys like this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Tom Talk Trash. Follow me on Twitter at Tom Talk Trash. And I will see you in the next interview. Goodbye now.